Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Byron Bradford, aka Brad, bringing you the Bradford Files, and I'll be discussing the American infrastructure and the problem that we're having with that right now. As you speak, I'm just looking through this, and I will get to there. However, this is brought to you today by B12 Fitness Group. You can get your latest protein shakes, amino acids, and everything you may need nutrition-wise at www.b12training.fit.com. Again, you have any veterans that's in crisis, 1-877-424 3838. And we got that business out of the way. Let's move on to the next chapter here. I was looking up, I want to know something about the American infrastructure. Where we at, our infrastructure in our country, how we looking in I know we're looking at counties, but America overall, infrastructure wise, what are we looking at? And what I come to find out is I'm on the Business Insider where I got my information. And the title is American Infrastructure is Decaying. And here's a look at how terrible things have gotten. Okay, American infrastructure is in desperate need of an investment, according to the American Society of Civil Engineers. They estimate the U.S. needs to spend some $4.5 trillion by 2025, 5 years, to fix the country's roads, bridges, dams, and other infrastructure, railroads, airport, things of that nature. Um, and I'm gonna get on down here to it's this part here where it talks about, according to the American Society of Civil Engineers, 2017 infrastructure report card, which is published every 4 years. U.S. infrastructure actually gets a D. I did say D for Delta, D for dog, D for dummy, but a D plus actually. A D plus. All right, got it. It got the same grade in 2013. So what I got people try to understand is this is not just a Donald Trump issue. We've been having issues long before Donald Trump ever got in office. So let's try not to make this a Donald Trump issue. This is an American issue, and this is how it. And this is a leadership issue also. What I'm trying to get people at is look at your leadership, because remember, all politics is local. So we need to start refocusing our energies in our backyard instead of worrying about what's going on in DC. Yes, DC is important. However, our backyard is even more important because that's where our property taxes get raised by county commissioners. Let's start putting those guys ahead on the guillotine as well. Figuratively speaking, not literally. Okay. All right. Somebody might try to do that. The ACE estimates the U.S. needs to spend some 4.5 trillion by 2025 to improve the state's country's road, bridges, dams, airports, and they put schools in that as well and more. So the report breaks down the state of our infrastructure in 16 different categories, and we'll look at some of it. They didn't say what state particularly, just get the U.S. overall. Airports get to D, bridges C plus. We had a bridge collapse. I think it was Minnesota actually. So I think people died. So people are losing their life because we're not taking care of our bridges, things people use on a daily basis. We live in a place like Minnesota where it goes through so many things weather-wise. It helps erode the integrity of those bridges and just any material over the course of time. And some of these roads, and a lot of this stuff was built, the power lines were built back in the 1950s and 60s. So here we are 50, 60 years later, we haven't done any improvements to those things. And amongst all that, now we're in the middle of a pandemic where money is just, it's in short supply. It's scared, things are in scarcity right now as they're making moves to cut the 600 from disability away. Uh, Unemployment, I mean. All right. Out of 600,000 bridges in the U.S., more than 200,000 are more than 50 years old, ladies and gentlemen. 50 years old. I'm not going to tell you my age, but anyway. The report estimates it would cost some $123 billion to fix the bridges in the U.S. The dams get in D by chance. The dams get in D. Drinking water is D. Man, drinking water is very important. However, the pipes that carry America's drinking water are in critical need of attention as we look at what's going on in Michigan, Flint. According to the report, many of the 1 million pipes have been in use for more than 100 years. Now, I don't want to drink out of that. 100 years? Are you serious? Come on now. The aging system makes water breaks more prevalent, which means there are about 2 trillion gallons of treated water lost every year. That is amazing. Energy, we get a D in America for energy. Power interruptions can become more common if more attention isn't given to the U.S. energy system, according to the report. Come on, Rick Perry, do your job. All right. I think he left and somebody else took his position now. The majority of the transmissions and distribution lines were built in the mid 20th century and having a life expectancy of about 50 years, meaning they're already outdated. So between 2016 and 2020 to 2025, there was an investment gap about $177 billion for infrastructure that supports electricity, like power plants and power lines. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a true hazard on our hands. Hazardous waste, they get a D plus in America. The reports describe U.S. infrastructure for hazardous waste as generally adequate. However, it states more than half the U.S. population lives within 3 miles of one of these waste sites. Mm, I'm not going to go on and on, but the levees, I'll go to the levees. Levees, we got a D in the levees. The levees play a critical role in protecting communities from floodwaters. As we've seen, Katrina was a levee that broke because no one had been doing what they're supposed to do with that money. So we noticed during the next 10 years, there's a need for 80 billion to improve these structures, according to the report. Again, Katrina, that levee broke. Wasn't necessarily a hurricane that hurt Katrina. It was the levees that gave out because lack of attention, lack of investment. That's part of the infrastructure, and you end up having a bunch of people lose their lives and property and moving out of Louisiana because of that. So we have some significant problems. If our infrastructure is not working right, a lot of things can go wrong. And again, schools is part of that infrastructure education system, but dams, railroads, bridges. If you live around bridges, start hitting up your local community, your local leaders, your mayors, basically your county commissioners. What people don't understand, county commissioners is an elected position. All right, precinct 1 through 3, 4. Then you have a county judge. Those are elected positions. So when you go vote in November, make sure you go all the way down ballot. Don't just go to the top of the ballot and hit the president, the vice president. No, go all the way. Take the extra time to go down the ballot and make sure you're getting and research these people before you put them in there. Because I know where I'm at. One guy been there for 37 years. That is unsatisfactory. 37 years. That's not going to work. We need to do better as a society, as a public, as taxpayers to start holding people accountable because you're going to pay taxes regardless, right? So you start holding people accountable, and when they're in office that long, they shouldn't be there that long. Hopefully somebody's going to come challenge these guys. I don't care if it's a primary. Make them work for the job. Do not let them just have it. But we have some more systemic. Those things are very systemic, and we can fix that over time. It's going to take a long time, but we can do it, and we can do it with your help. Again, get registered to vote. Make sure you show up. I don't care how you vote. Just make sure you vote, okay? But that's your voice, your chance to make your opinion, your voice heard, and challenge people. Again, on this Bradford Files, no opinion, just facts. Again, thank you. This is brought to you by B12 Fitness Group, www.b12training.fit.com. Get your latest protein shakes, amino acids, anything else you may need nutrition wise. Again, any veterans in crisis, 1-877-424-3838. Again, have a great day.